Okay, Iran sends 300 plus drones attacking Israel. Israel on the defense with their Iron Dome to shoot them down. Take a listen here.
So that was early Sunday morning in Israel, also in Jordan, some other areas too. What defends Israel today is a complex system. One of those systems is called Iron Dome. We just want to give you an idea a little bit about how this works, okay? This is the Iron Dome. There are others now, but we just want to give you an example here. Enemy rockets are fired here. That's point number one. Then the radar system on behalf of the Israelis detects that rocket and tracks it. Now, the third part is very important, okay? This control system estimates the impact point. The system is designed that if you fire a missile into Israel and it's determined to land in the desert, let's say, or maybe even into the sea, they will not go, in most cases, they will not go after that missile. They'll just let it land harmlessly. But if it's threatening a population center, this launcher fires the missile to intercept, and that missile explodes near it and destroys it. And they were very successful on Saturday night, Sunday morning. Jack Keene's with me now. And, sir, good morning to you. I thought you made a number of interesting points. I just want to make one here, okay? Think about Hezbollah in Lebanon. Think about Hamas. Think about the Houthis in Yemen. What are they thinking today after Iran's raid really was weak?
Well, they have to be stunned, frankly, because they have been urging Iran to get more involved in what they are doing. They wanted more direct assistance from Iran, and they finally got it. But what happened is it was historic, as you mentioned previously, because Iran has never invaded Israel before or fired on them, consequentially. But the reality is it was an overwhelming defeat for Iran and humiliation. Their national leaders certainly humiliated. The IRGC humiliated. And I believe the proxies are completely stunned by the results, that Iran was not able to achieve anything other than prove their willingness to attack Israel. And yes, I think there's huge opportunity here for Israel and the United States going forward to leverage this.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And there's plenty of time for Israel to respond, but you think they should go patiently now. How come?
Well, think about it. I mean, Israel's in the best position they've been in some time, given America's criticism of their operational war aims and how they're executing them, the international community, widespread condemnation of Israel. But after this attack and Israel's ability to defend successfully against it, they are really in a pretty good place. And I think this opens a window here for the international community and the United States to get really tough about sanctions on Iran. And there are discussions taking place in the UN about it. There's discussions in the Congress of the United States. And as you know, this administration is eased up on the sanctions on Iran, which has gotten them flush with money. So use this as a window of opportunity to do that. I don't think it changes anything for Netanyahu and his team. They're going to retaliate, and I trust them in terms of how to do that and what the targets are, what the scale is. I mean, their judgment has been pretty sound for 6 months on how to deal with adversaries, and I think we should give them that kind of credit. But if they exercise some patience here, maybe make some progress on the diplomatic front.
All right, let me make one point, then I'll ask you one final question. Naftali Bennett is the former Prime Minister of Israel. He said, "We always fought the octopus's arms, but hardly exacted a price from its Iranian head." I think that kind of goes with what you're describing there, sir. And what do you think about the success or failure of the Biden administration here? How do you characterize that now?
From the very beginning, they have made significant strategic mistakes because they believed, even though the evidence was to the contrary, that the best approach with Iran is not the strong-arm approach that President Trump and his team took in confronting Iran, but to appease them and concede to them so they could get back into the nuclear deal. That's been the policy for 3 years, and it's been an absolute miserable failure. And the reason is it emboldened Iran. as their strategy in dealing with Russia, they didn't deter them. They emboldened them. We're losing a competition with China, which the president says that's what we're going to do. We're going to compete, but we're losing that competition. So the reality is we have an emboldened Iran, which certainly directed its proxies to take the actions that we've all been seeing here. Why is that? Because they think they're going to get away with it. And the evidence to date is the United States is not going to take strong measures against Iran, even though Iran has a weak military, and we could take measured attacks against Iran's capabilities and literally begin to shut down the proxies by telling Iran, if you don't shut it down, we're going to continue these attacks to systematically take down your capabilities that you value. Not a go-to-war strategy or anything like that. We're not talking about war with Iran. We're talking about deterring Iran, and we've lost that ability to deter them.
All right, you make a great point. We'll see whether or not the pressure is big enough.
Yeah, and the problem here is that Iran, the Houthis, Hamas have been able to just run amok for who knows how long. U.S. assets and military bases in the region have been attacked over 200 times in recent months, maybe even over 300 times. Who knows what the count is at this point? And quite frankly, there's been very little repercussions. And as you heard from the general there, that sanctions have actually been lowered against Iran. And you kind of got to wonder why. Why? Clearly, Iran is not an ally. They're the opposite. They're an adversary. And, they're teaming up with Russia. They're teaming up with China. China's clearly a frenemy. They're not, they're going away from being an ally. They're being more of, if they weren't a trading partner with us, they would be absolutely nothing to us. They would be an enemy, nothing but an enemy. And this is the problem here, is that, these enemies, these adversaries are being allowed to do things like this, attack our allies, and get away with it, and have sanctions actually lifted from them, albeit in hopes that maybe they would behave themselves, and clearly they're not. So if sanctions were lifted from them in the past and they haven't behaved themselves and things like this happen, you got to get tough on them. You got to get tough on them, because clearly they're not behaving, and say, okay, well, we tried to work with you. You're not behaving. We're going to get tough on you now. And, if the Biden administration is not going to get tough on them, I don't know what else to say. The U.S. military's got to respond. And remember, it doesn't have to be war, full-blown out war. We have seen some retaliation strikes from the U.S. to send a message. Remember, they've attacked us over 200 times, and we've attacked back, a handful of times, 5 times or something like that, to their 200. It almost makes it look like they're making a fool out of us. In fact, if anything, Israel is the only people actually standing up for themselves, and Ukraine standing up to Russia. Boy, what Russia and Putin never thought that Ukraine would stand up for themselves the way they did. I think that, Putin thought that they would go in there, take over Ukraine like they took over Crimea in just a matter of days or weeks, and that would be that. Putin would get some criticism, and Putin would have, washed his hands with it, and, taken over some new territory, taken back some old USSR territory, and he got some new criticism, or some old criticism, whatever, right? But, Ukraine said, no, we got 45 million people. We're not going to stand for that. And, part of the world united with him and said, well, we're going to at least help you, give you some weapons, and, you do the fighting. And, Israel said the same thing. here we are with Iran, who's Putin's allies, Russia's allies, probably backing them. And Israel said, you know what, you're going to attack us. We're not going to stand for it. Ironically, it's the U.S. who's gotten attacked over 200 times in the Middle East and has only attacked back 5 times, maybe. I don't know, less than 10 times. And ironically, it's the U.S. who looks like they have no backbone. The problem is that whenever you poll U.S. citizens, you look in the comments, U.S. citizens, it's always, U.S. doesn't want war, Americans don't want war, they don't want to fight. And don't get me wrong, who does? Who wants war? Nobody wants war. But on the other hand, when you look at countries like Ukraine or Israel, when they get attacked, they're not standing for it. You attack us, we're going to attack back. You can't just attack us and we're going to take it, is what they're saying. But somehow when the United States gets attacked, we're just going to take it. At least that's what's actually happening. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything happening on a daily basis. Make sure to share these videos with anybody that needs to hear this information. Make sure to like these videos and subscribe down below if you haven't yet. Click here to actually see the billions of dollars that was actually just approved by Biden and what Congress is working on here in this video. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.